Okay, so the beginning, that's the opening, is by me, and I'm Rachel, in which after I would invite our special guest, the head of IIPGH InfoSec, Mr. MM, who will come and give us our welcome remark. Then we would get some brief discussion from the Cybersecurity Authority, a representative from Cybersecurity Authority, and then we'll have a short presentation, after which we will have an open forum for questions and answers. And then, as I was saying, in today's world, in today's digital age, we are fan of quoting things online that may be wrong. We do not really have the facts about them. We just post whatever we see. So far as you see a blogger posting it, you don't verify whether it's true or not. We just post it. We don't even check for the consequences of it. So today, we are going to have panelists who will delve more into these topics. We are going to make sure that we know our roles as netizens to fight against misinformation and disinformation. So let's meet our panelists. Our first panelist, who is the head of IIPGH InfoSec, Mr. MM Umo. He's also from Zenith Bank. Can we kindly give him a round of applause? Kindly emojis everywhere. I'd like to see your reaction. Okay.
Thank you, Rachel.
Oh.
I'm really excited to be here, like I told you initially when I first spoke with you today. It's quite
Hello, please, can we hear Mr. MM speaking?
all is well.
No, please.
I was muted.
No.
Sorry, please. Sorry. Thank you so much, Rachel. I was muted and I was speaking a lot of grammar here, appraising myself, thinking that I'm even ahead.
It happens.
Sorry about that, please, my team. Rachel introduced me as a special guest. I'm sorry, I am the host, let me put it that way. And I want to appreciate every participant here, every distinguished guest, and every of the ex-team speakers that we are going to have on this program today. Yes, it's an exciting time in Ghana, an exciting month, to participate in, considering the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Like I just said when I was muted, we launched the industry forum constitution yesterday, and we launched the industry code yesterday, and also a few people were inaugurated as the independent assessor for CSA. So it's really an exciting time. So taking today's topic into consideration, I want to say it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this important webinar organized by the Security Group of the Institute of ICT Professional Ghana as part of the Awareness Month activity. I want to give a special thanks to Sheriff, Mr. Sheriff, Alhaji Sheriff Isa. Sorry about that. I need to put that title right. Alhaji Sheriff Isa. I really appreciate his effort regarding this group. The theme of today's session is Fighting Misinformation and Disinformation, the role of internet user, by Rachel Gen C. Call it, what do you call it, Rachel?
Netizens.
Thank you. When I first met that word, I was confused. I have to seek clarification. So I was told this is what it means. Thank you so much. We baby bombers, we are we are at loss when such kind of word comes up. So the role of netizen user, let me put it that way, could be more timely or relevant given the time we are in. Very, very timely. So as we gather here today, we are reminded of the profound impact that technology has on our life, shaping how we connect, communicate, and access information. However, with this advancement come new challenges. Misinformation and disinformation has become significant threat to our digital environment, influencing public opinion, political outcomes, and even personal decision making. You can just go on the net and embark on some kind of routine that is never true and will not yield any benefit to you. They threaten not only individual but the entire society, affecting trust in institutions, public health, security, and democracy. You are well aware we are in our election year, and of course, toward the end of this year, there will be an election. Why this topic matters? Misinformation being the inadvertent spread of false information, and disinformation, the deliberate attempt to deceive, are a very complex issue. They are designed to exploit our bias, capitalize on sensationalism, and thrive on the speed and reach of the digital platform. That one is the one that actually, pull the plug off, pull the pin off the plug. From misleading news article to doctored videos and viral hosts, no corner of the internet is immune. This activity can manipulate emotion, sow confusion, and undermine the fabric of trust that holds society together. A society of like ours at this point, at this time. It is crucial that we recognize the responsibility for combating this threat does not rest solely with government, no. Law enforcement, no. Technology company, no. What it means that it does not rest on the shoulders of CSA alone, nor the government, nor NITAS or any other public function. As internet user, we all have an essential role to play in the stemming tide of falsehood and safeguarding of truth. In fact, each of us has the power of, to be digital gatekeeper, questioning, verifying, and responsibly sharing information. The role of internet user, this webinar will dive into how each of us can become more vigilant and responsible internet user. Our role in this fight starts with understanding the key drivers of misinformation and disinformation. The algorithm that pulls sensational content, the motive behind fake news creator, and the human tendency to share before verifying. Today's discussion will empower you with tools to detect fake news, identify reliable source, and adopt a more critical mindset to your digital interaction. We are also in the age of social media, where one post, tweet, or video can go viral in an instant. While this platform offers useful communication tools, they also give rise to echo chambers and the rapid spread of falsehood. Therefore, we must actively challenge the information we consume and share, while also holding this platform accountable for their role in regulating content. So our collective responsibility, while misinformation and disinformation are a global challenge, they are on a unique flavor in Ghana and across Africa. Local news and cultural reference, language barrier can make it difficult to identify false information. This is why even more important for us as citizen, professional, and digital native to enhance our awareness. Awareness is key. I believe that by the end of this session, we'll all be better informed and better equipped to play our part in this important fight. Thank you and welcome again to this webinar. I believe it's going to be an exciting one. I'm eager to listen to the speaker. I'm eager to also hear the questions that will be coming and the answers that will be response to this question. We are all learners, so we are all eager to learn, and we are all eager to, how do I call it? Put usefulness to the information and to the lesson that we are going to get from this webinar. Thank you so much, Rachel. You can take it from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. MM. We really appreciate the insightful message you just delivered. And it's true, it is not just the responsibility of the Cybersecurity Authority. Every person, every netizen, the Gen Z world, we are all responsible for how we utilize the social media. And today, I would want us to, if you have any question regarding your social media, how maybe you've seen some information, you can start writing them down. Today, we're going to delve more into things like this. So, we would have our next speaker, who is our next panelist, who is the representative of the Cybersecurity Authority. He is a senior manager, Mr. Isaac Socrates Mensah. Kindly let's welcome him with our emojis. Let's applaud him with our emojis. Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Essie.
very much. Thank you very much, Rachel. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please, we can. Thank you. Loud and
Okay.
clear.
I just want to just put up my slide. Kindly confirm if you can see my slide, please.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So a very good evening to all of us on the call, and thank you for especially to IIPGH, a very good partner of the CSA. Always collaborating with us on various initiatives, especially during Awareness Month. And we thank you again for inviting us to this particular session that you've organized. I think my senior colleague, actually did justice to the reason why we're on this call. And actually, October is also, aside Breast Cancer Awareness Month, is also known as the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And the authority has been celebrating this for the past 7 years. This year specifically, our team is concentrating on the very topic which you are dealing with, which is combating misinformation and disinformation in a digitally resilient democracy, our collective responsibility. And I believe actually mentioned that it is not only the work of the regulator or government or any institution, but we all of us users of the internet space, IT professionals, each and every one of us has a role to play in combating this particular menace, especially as we are heading into very serious times. That is our elections. And one of the biggest threats that has been seen towards any election globally is misinformation, disinformation. So it's a very critical topic that we actually need to speak about, engage, create awareness for people to know how to even differentiate between mis and disinformation and know what they are about. So I believe this event is actually in its right stead, in the right direction. And again, to talk about it, I'm not the one that is going to actually talk about this particular topic. I believe my colleague, who we also bear the same name, Isaac, is going to do justice to this particular topic. But I just want to use this few minutes to also highlight some very important activities that have happened since we started or we launched the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. MMUMO actually mentioned one of the very important ones that happened about 2 days ago, which has to do with the launch of the industry forum and the independent assessors. Quite a very, very important activity or regulatory initiative that is going to help the industry. But there are other ones that have actually also happened that I'd like to just talk briefly about it before Isaac actually comes to do justice to the topic, because he's the one that has been prepared for, or is prepared for this particular topic. So to go into what I'm about to talk about, when you take Ghana's cybersecurity, it is anchored or underpinned by some very, very important things. One of the major things that governs Ghana's cyber security is our Cybersecurity Act, the Act 1038, which was actually enacted into law in 2020. It is the bedrock on which all our activities or our initiatives are going to rest, or it is going to support. The act actually gave birth to the Cybersecurity Authority, whose main mandate is to regulate Ghana's cyberspace, right? One of the main anchors again to Ghana cybersecurity is our National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy, which also gives the path, or in terms of going forward, what government seeks to do in addressing the various challenges, the various gaps, and things or initiatives that will be introduced to bolster our cybersecurity. So the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy is one very important document that also anchors Ghana's cybersecurity development. If you go online, you'd realize that the last one that we had, or the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy that we had, was from 2016, and it's from 2016 to 2020, and it had actually elapsed its time, or its implementation time. So there was a need for there to be a review of that particular document to take care of very new threats that we are seeing and gaps that we are seeing within our space. So work has been going on for a while, and as part of the launch for the Cybersecurity Awareness Month this year, we launched the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy. That is the reviewed or the revised version of the Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy, which is a very important document highlighting what government or what Ghana is going to do in the next few years ahead of us with regards to our policy and strategy to address the new and emerging threats that are happening within our space. So this particular document was launched on the 1st of October. And I believe most of us have not had the opportunity to really look at what it has as professionals working within the space, and what even it has with regards to opportunities that we can actually derive from this particular document. So just to bring it to the fore, the policy document only provides a direction to Ghana's cybersecurity development, and also directs our national course through 5 pillars, okay, that we term as our policy statements. So these are statements or things that the government or Ghana seeks to do in terms of our national cybersecurity development, okay. So these statements has to do with 5 main ones: the legal measures, technical measures, organizational measures, capacity building, and then cooperation. So legal measures has to do with within our legal space, there are various gaps that will be identified. And cybersecurity, of course, is a very dynamic space, and things are changing rapidly. And it is very important that our legal regime also adapts to this very changing environment. So what we seek to do is actually to engage relevant stakeholders, including the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, in ways that we are going to dynamically as also change our legal regime with to actually move with the changing trends that we are seeing, and also build capacity with regards to our law enforcement and also our judges in prosecuting cybersecurity cases. Technical measures has to do with the implementation of various technical initiatives that is going to help address cybersecurity. Of course, is also a technical domain. So we need to have various technical measures. So like early warning systems, computer emergency response teams, and various initiatives that has to do with or address various technical gaps within the space. Of course, organizational measures also play a very key role with regards to that. So in terms of our various stakeholders coming together, government, private, various institutions coming together to address our cybersecurity space, also has to rest on the organizational measures, capacity building, also targeting various levels, even within our academic institutions from primary up to the tertiary level, ensuring that we've put in place various ways through which we can build capacity and also create awareness within the space. And then cybersecurity does not live in a vacuum. It is an international commodity. So we cannot say we have only Ghana's internet. We are definitely operating in a global space, and there is a need for us to put in place various cooperative measures both internally and also internationally, in order for us to be able to deal with some of these matters. I believe even misinformation and disinformation, as we are even combating it, we also need to have, cooperation with international bodies, the various platforms on which some of these are being sent. The social media owners are not resident in this country, and we need to have various international cooperation measures in place to be able to work with them to deal with this menace. So these are the policy statements. And when it comes to the policy and strategy, in terms of the strategy in itself, so the strategy is the implementing body that is going to be or should I say, the implementation tool that we are going to use to achieve the policy statements that I've talked about. So these are the various imperatives. In each of the imperatives, we have initiatives that have been outlined in there to reach those imperatives. So one of the imperatives is to build a resilient ecosystem. When you go into the document, I just want to, just an overview of it. And later, maybe we can look into what the initiatives are. But the imperatives are to build a resilient digital ecosystem, to secure our digital infrastructure, to develop national capacity, to deter cybercrime, and to also strengthen cooperation. So these are the imperatives that we are going to implement to achieve the strategic or the policy statements that we have actually mentioned above. And when you go into the policy and strategy document, you are going to be able to see the various initiatives. And as industry players working within the space, you realize that there are various roles that you can play. The initiatives have actually been categorized into short-term, mid-term, and then long-term. The policy and strategy is going to be implemented within 5 years. So from 2023 to 2027, that is the period with which we are looking to implement this particular policy and strategy. And there are certain initiatives that we are looking to implement in the short term, that is within 1 year. Some of them are going to be implemented within the medium term, that is between 1 to 3 years. And then some are also going to be within 3 to 5 years. So that is the long term. So those are the various initiatives. And this document is actually available on our website for download for you to see the various initiatives that we are looking to do. Another very, very important document that has been launched within the National Cybersecurity Month is the National Child Online Protection Framework. Also, it was launched by our second lady, Samira, Her Excellency Samira Barumia, as part of the National Cybersecurity Challenge that we held last week, Friday, in October 18. So we learned this very, very important document that has to do with the child online protection. So it also has various strategic areas that seeks to protect children online and also enhance their participation in the online space. Children are most often than not the most vulnerable users of the internet space, and they need protection. And this particular framework brings together various initiatives, various stakeholders, bringing them together to see how best we can, and introducing various initiatives to protect children in this space. So it has various strategic areas: policy and governance, victim support and service empowerment, society, including institutions, parents, guardians, their roles in protecting children. It is a tool that is going to enhance them to also learn more and how to protect their children online. Industry players, what are the various tools, initiatives that we can actually develop to protect our children online? And also media and communication. How do we get the children to hear about the various dangers online and what they can do to protect themselves on this space? So this document, or the Child Online Framework document, is also available on CSS website, where you can also download and see the various initiatives that are going to be implemented in there as well. And then, of course, the very last major initiative that was launched just 2 days ago, the launch of the industry forum, which my colleague MM actually talked about. So it is a forum that is going to bring together various players within the cybersecurity space, individual professionals, organizations, anybody playing a role within the industry forum, working together with the authority in order to implement various cybersecurity initiatives that is going to help build our ecosystem. The industry forum is also going to be a platform where various professionals, both new in the ecosystem and also very experienced in the ecosystem, will have the opportunity to engage, to learn best practices and all that. So this is also a very good platform that has been launched and is going to help build our Ghana's cybersecurity space. So I just urge each and every one of you to be on the lookout for the implementation of these great initiatives. Follow the CSA's post online to gain more insight into how some of these initiatives will be rolled out to you and how you can also play a big role in it. So on that note, I will end my talk very brief here, and then I'll leave it for our resource person to deal with the substantive issue for which we are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac. Let's clap for Mr. Isaac. You can share your clapping emojis. Let's clap for Mr. Isaac. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so if you have a question, kindly hold on to it. We would have our next presenter before your questions come in. Kindly hold on to your questions now. We will finish with the next presenter, then we have our questions come in. So thank you so much, Mr. Isaac. And yes, if you want to be aware, if you want to raise awareness, we need to also have a role to play. We have a role to play. We need to stay updated with the current trends. Right now, he has mentioned some of the policies and implementation that Cybersecurity Authority is bringing on. And then what can we do to stay updated on these things? It's only by following or keeping up with them. So kindly go and follow them on their social media platforms. This will help you stay informed about these things, this kind of implementation, for you to know the right channels or the right process to go through in case of anything. So we would have our next speaker, who is also Mr. Isaac. We would like to welcome Mr. Isaac Apenten. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name well. He's the head of Information Security Manager, HAPTIL, and he's a deputy DPS for IIPGH. Thank you. Let's welcome Mr. Isaac Apenten. Sorry, Mr. Isaac.
Yeah, right, it's fine. Okay, am I heard?
Yes, you are here.
Okay, thank you very much. It looks intimidating after the authority has spoken and have also given some insightful ideas about misinformation and disinformation. But as they have planted, we'll try to water it so that it goes down with all of us. Then we go into the question and answer moment. I would also want to take the opportunity to wish everyone a happy Cybersecurity Month. And as the statement has been made, that is a collaborative effort. I hope that we are all doing some bit of our portion in our capacity to help people also be aware of some cybersecurity issues. Permit me to also share my screen, then we can take it off from there.
Okay, we can see your screen now. Thank you.
In presentation mode. Okay, let me just go. Okay, please confirm if it's fine.
Yes, this is fine.
Okay, thank you. I'll also take the opportunity to thank the management of IIPGH for the opportunity for us to come around and have this discussion. So, as we have been informed already, it's going to deal with fighting misinformation and disinformation, the role of netizens, and how we can all make sure that this menace or cyber risk is well dealt with equal measure. Okay, so I'm Isaac, and I'm the Information Security Manager for HAPTAL, the Deputy DPS for IIPGH. And I'm a partner and a consultant for InfoShield Innovations, which does some ISO consultations with consultants with small businesses who want to be certified to ISO and some information security frameworks. In our small life, these are some of the few things that we have done. I wouldn't want to talk so much about it, but this is who we are, and we're going to dive into our session. So, misinformation and disinformation is not a new phenomenon. It's a human problem. It's a traditional gossip that goes around. So you see, it has been amplified by people having tools now to share information. But as they are sharing, there's a blurred line between whether what they are sharing is a fact or fake. And what it does is that it plays on the human mind, because people may take decisions out of whatever we see online and do in our daily lives. It's only not end there. It also leads to people taking decisions. And if you look at the history of misinformation and disinformation, though it has been around for some time, but in the 2016 election of the US, it came out so strongly that Russian had a way of trying to push some agenda to people to twist their decision making and had influence on the elections. That has been the perception. But so this framework wants us to just understand that as we are sharing, it becomes so very difficult because of how people are sharing behind the scenes, and they are just presenting other usernames or having an account, and they are just sharing, and you don't know exactly what is the truth about it. So either fake or fact, and that is what we are going to explore in this presentation. So we want to know what exactly mis and disinformation are, the differences and the similarities, then the actual impact it has on society, then the active role as netizens or people who are using the internet or social media, what we can also do to fight this particular menace. So it's an exploration. After that, I hope other people on the call can also share their experience and let us know exactly what we can do together to fight this cyber risk. So per definition, misinformation refers to the sharing of false or inaccurate information, often unintentionally, and that is a very operative word here. So people chance upon news and they just want people to hear about it. It may not be their fault, because sometimes they are warning news items or some things that they have found, and they want to spread the news, or if in the religious sense, spread the gospel for people to hear, knowing that it may be a false information. But when we talk about disinformation, we are referring to a purposeful spreading of misleading and false information. The target here is that it is well orchestrated to deceive, to target some group of people as to how they take their decision. But we are in this era because deciding or having a judgment on truth has become very dicey, because information is being shared like in real time. People will not even have the opportunity to validate them. So in this era, it is a post-truth era, which refers to a time or context in which objective facts are less influential in this particular area. And now, misinformation, emotional rhetorics, personal narratives often overshadow evidence-based reasoning and truth. So this is the era we find ourselves now, because everybody has an opinion about something, and they are willing to share about whatever they have found, and it becomes very difficult in telling whether it is the actual truth. So that is the era we are in, and we have to find a way to deal with it. Now, there are some similarities that runs through both misinformation and disinformation. Both spread false information and they mislead the public. The moment the information you are sharing is false, it presupposes that people are going to take decisions based on a flawless information. So they all have that constant factor of false information. Then these kind of misinformation and disinformation are also amplified through social media. So as I've said, traditionally, gossip goes around. People just fabricate issues and they tell the friend also tells a friend, and that one is a manpower job. But now, these two frameworks, or let me say risk, are amplified by social media platforms, especially via algorithms that prioritize viral content. So people who want to follow people who have many followers, and if they post something, it catches fire and it runs through and everybody wants to talk about it. It also exploits emotional responses like fear, anger, or compassion to encourage people sharing. Sometimes you get some audios on WhatsApp and say, brothers and sisters, this is what I have heard. I want you to push, let people hear about it. Like they bring some sense of urgency and fear in people to share in both sides, both misinformation and disinformation. Then it is difficult to control once it gains momentum. When it starts spreading, you see a lot of people sharing, and it becomes very difficult to control it. Now, these two words are sometimes used interchangeably, and even with the invent of fake news, we think that they may all be classified as fake news, but there are some strong distinctions between them. So when we come to misinformation, you may not be intentional about it. You may even not know, but you are just pushing the information around, which becomes very difficult because people are not verifying what they get online before they push. But when we talk about disinformation, it's intentional. It's designed to deceive and manipulate people's mind and the way they take decisions. When we talk about misinformation, so it is spread by mostly individuals who are not knowing about whatever they are doing. But disinformation comes in when it is spread by organized groups and even sometimes state actors. They push the information so hard to be, I've heard in some quarters that even when it is false, the moment you push it, you document it, it becomes like the truth. And this has been some tactics of organized groups and state actors. When it comes to misinformation, sometimes it can be easily corrected when you are fact checking and see that, okay, this is not coming from the right source. You can just on the fly see that even the person who is sharing it does not have the capacity to share that particular kind of information. But when it comes to disinformation, it's harder because this is deliberate. They have, even in a well-organized one, they have algorithms that are going to push these things online to make sure that people fall in line and create some kind of affection in the system. Then, so let's look at these two typical examples. And the first one here happened in Dubai. And what happened was that there was some demolition of some buildings around a particular area. Then somebody just went to tweet about it, that anyone else feel the earthquake in Dubai? He heard a noise, like something is going on. That sounds like the earth is shaking. Then he goes ahead to tweet about it. Somebody just also came to say that, oh, I just felt a minor tremor in Dubai. Dubai Internet City. Anyone else? From this point, people who won't have any way of verifying can also amplify this even in other countries and receive comments about them. This is a typical sense of misinformation. The one who is sharing doesn't actually know exactly what has happened, and unintentionally he's sharing them. But when we come to the other side too, in the same line, the cane at the correlation and coming out, some people saw sand on the road, and somebody just said something very poetic about a king in the golden coach being driven over a load of potholes filled with wet sand because no one in his country has the money to fix the roads properly, and suggesting that, okay, even in the richest cities there can be potholes. But the actual fact of the matter was that they put these sands there for the horses to be feeling comfortable and see that they are in their natural environment, and this was done to just portray that, but people can read meanings into that. But now let's come home And I don't know how many of us cited this, but immediately the organized labor announced that they were going to suspend their strike, which so many people were not in agreement with them. I saw this post, and you see now that the problem is that people have the skills to design some of these things, the capacity to even impersonate credible sources. That is where the danger is. Because if you see anything from City News, it's like a credible sort of media outlet that you would want to take their word for it. But now people are even going to that extent to impersonate and to mimic some of these people and put out information so strongly to push some agenda in the system, which is very right. So this is a classical example of disinformation. Like for somebody to go to this extent, use the logo, use the format of City, becomes very scary. And that is why it is very important that we must all act and make sure that people can be brought to book, or like those of us who are aware of some of these things will go there and comment or stop sharing or educate people about them. Yes, there's an interesting statistics I want us to pay attention to. From the World Economic Forum Global Risk Analysis for 2024, the report is online. They do short-term risk and long-term risk. For the next 2 years, the World Economic Forum is projecting that misinformation and disinformation is the #1 risk that the global community faces. Then the fourth one is cyber insecurity. They are sort of related and propelled by technology. That's why I'm highlighting that. But if you see, even in the 10 years time, it will still be #5, which tells us that it's becoming a global serious risk that we must pay attention to. That is why it's very important we have all gathered here to know about it and fight it as we come across them. So it is going to be scary in the next 2 years. We have to be aware that people will not resort to bringing out facts or evidence-based conversation, but they will try to push misinformation and disinformation so strongly. In fact, in their analysis, they said that over the next 2 years, the widespread use of misinformation and disinformation and tools to even disseminate or distribute some of these things may undermine the legitimacy of newly elected government. So governments coming on board in these 2 years will have the risk of people deliberately or unintentionally spreading false news to discredit governments, to discredit agencies who operate in specific countries. Resulting in this, there will be unrest that could range from violent protests, hate crimes, to civil confrontation and terrorism. As much as we would want to criticize or bring out some challenges in our countries, in our societies, in our associations, and whatever we operate in, we must be very cautious that we don't do that on the premise of unfactual or false information, which can cause a lot of problems in the society. Beyond elections, other things like perception of reality are likely to also become more polarized and infiltrating the public discourse on issues ranging from public health and social justice. And as we go further, you will see that people will even now come to the point of saying it is true or not because of what they believe or the side they belong to, which becomes very difficult to control. Then let's look at the impact that some of these disinformation and information cause. As has been mentioned by and earlier speakers, political impact is very so strong. Election interference. In fact, in Kenya in 2022, election misinformation influenced voters' decisions, and disinformation tactics were employed to discredit the opposition. So it is something that seemed to be also working for these actors, and they want to strongly encourage it. In Niger, coup in 2023 to something of that sort also happened. That's disinformation campaigns were supported even by external actors, and no disaffection for Russia, but Russia seems to be coming up when we talk about disinformation. Then public health, we all know some of the misinformations and news that went around, whether to take the injection or some vaccines that were coming and the problems that were reported. Most of them were not so factual, but people were just pushing the agenda. Then economic impact, in the sense that market stability becomes very crucial here. By the wind of some rumor or false news in the system can destabilize even the stock market and other things. So you see that the impact goes beyond just an individual taking a decision, but even on a larger scale, governments, states, the economy can suffer. And even public health education becomes so difficult because people would have their own views and other ways of sharing false information about some pandemics and other things that happen in the society. Now, to us, said the Gen Zs are now calling netizen or internet users. So a netizen is somebody who is using the internet so strongly. You are a citizen on the net. This one, the passport may be you just getting a data or having a smartphone, and you are good to go. You can just operate as a qualified citizen, which makes it a bit scary. So it describes a person who actively engages on online communities and activities with the internet. It reflects on a person's role in contributing to the online ecosystem. So whether through social media, forums, content creations. Yeah, so now people even can go to the extent of creating blogs for themselves and actually pushing a particular agenda. And they will do it till they are accepted in the society. So we have other digital platforms that can also be used. What happens is that as internet users, we must all know that whatever we are posting and sharing and participating in discussion has a place of influencing public opinion on various topics. For example, those of us who are qualified for you are an expert in a particular area and people follow you and you try to push out information, advice, and some other things to them. If you are not very careful and you become an actor of sharing false information, it becomes very dangerous because people would hold on to it. In fact, in some scenario that I have come to accept, there are some section of our public that think that anything they find on Google should be the truth and just the truth. They have no question because I found it on the internet, and the internet is not somewhere that people just go there and you can play about. They think that it is the truth. There may be few, but even as educated as some of us may be, sometimes we easily fall for some of these things. So we have to be very careful about that. Now, what should we do as participants here and even as we explore? We must be interested in fact-checking before sharing. Very important. We must always try to verify the source, whether it's trusted or not. When we say it's trusted, what we mean is that we have reasonably number of platforms or news agencies or bodies that have reasonably consistently for some number of years reported accurately. So when you are fact checking, you can just go by some of these people and see. So there are some few ones I will also show at the last slide. That Snopes, then we have African Check, we have Google Fact Check, and Check Explorers that we can use to sometimes validate some of these things. The big one for us here is that as we explore, and some of us are leading the presentation, just to facilitate our minds to come to bear that it is a real risk, we would want to encourage us to raise awareness in our families, in our churches. We must help to educate others by sharing verified information by ourselves and also correcting misinformation when we encounter it. One of the best ways we can do is when we know the right source or the right information in the comment sections and other things, you would have to put the right information there. What I've seen so much interesting is that sometimes people put news items and they are more interested in even the comments than the main content as it presents itself. We must also try to report some of these harmful news content when we come against them, we come across them. So, for example, some of these platforms, Facebook, X, and other platforms have in their own algorithms developed some mechanisms where you can report. And as many as we report, we are able to get them bring some of these things down. It's a proactive measure of flagging some of these false news. Then we must promote digital literacy. And I'm very happy that IIPGH is in the force of helping and even collaborating with state agencies when it comes to education, especially in this month, so that we can just let people know exactly what happens on digital platforms and the implications of sharing things that may be falsehood and the repercussions. And we must be able to tell people what is our responsibility when we go on. Now, the challenge is that sometimes the sheer volume of the things that you are seeing will not even permit you to see which ones you want to report and which ones you are not supposed to report. That is why we have gathered here, so that we take the advantage, and those of us who are developers and other people here should think about developing indigenous fact-checking portals or platforms, so that people can fact check with agencies, with the presidency, parliament. Like we should have a platform that we can do these things, so that people will have accessibility in fact checking. Deepfake also presents a very serious challenge to misinformation and disinformation. In just before this recent time, you would have thought that a video is always authenticated and you can't question it. But now deepfake has come to defeat that your face can just be taken and be spreading false information because people think that they must attack your reputation or they must push some particular kind of agenda. And I even hinted the third one, confirmation bias. When people tend to believe information that aligns with their pre-existing views, and I'll even add their political views, which makes disinformation very difficult to combat. As professionals here, I would want us to be more cautious when we comment on political issues and other things. We may have our sides, but we must have deliberate attempts not to mix it with false information. And it's our responsibility, because professionals help to build the ecosystem, build the nation in the right manner. Not to say that don't criticize, because I also see that is one of the challenge of UN as to how to control this menace. They don't want to also give so much power to the states, so that censorship and freedom of expression cannot coexist, so that there will be room for people to express themselves, but in the right manner. Now let's verify. The best thing to do is to try to always find to verify and see what you are reading or want to share is coming from the right source. Try to find out 2 or 3 trusted sources which are balanced. This means giving both sides of the story, and check the fact from the account or whatever the post is. Then if what is posted and shared is fake, but the user is unaware, this is when we say it is misinformation. If it's a deliberate attempt, then it becomes disinformation. Now the question is, should we go back to the newspapers? At least we can have some points, but the era we have got to will not permit that. I also see them also trying to come online to make sure that people have access to information, but the newspapers were a bit free from some of this misinformation and disinformation, because there's more effort in reportage and all those things. But we find ourselves there, so we should find a way to cope with it. Now, I just wanted to expose participants to some fact-checking platforms that you can use. There's Ghana Fact, that does a bit of fact-checking and try to tell whether it's false, it's true, and we can always check it out. Google Fact Check is also around. Snopes also tries to do that. BBC also has its own BBC Verify, which is a fact check portal. Then we have PolitiFact and factcheck.org by the United States to help people fact check some of these activities and news. Then I would want to end here by a statement of the UN Secretary General. And he's saying that countering disinformation requires lasting investment in building society resilience and media and information literacy. We must, as a matter of fact, now those of us who are in risk and those of us who want to help in the sanitization of social media, digital platforms, should take much interest in researching into how we can have capacity of citizens well built that they can identify false news, misinformation, and disinformation. And I think when we do that, it will be our major contribution to fighting this menace. I know that there may be some questions or other participants have some knowledge about this, and we would wait for it. I would want to pause here for the next session of the program. Thank you very much, Rachel, and we can just take it up from there.
Thank you so much for this enlightening session. You've educated us well on how to identify how to define misinformation and disinformation, being that misinformation is mostly not intentional, and then disinformation is intentionally spreading false information. And then you've also showed us that some tactics that some of these people use, especially using our emotions to blackmail people into spreading more information which might not be true. But one thing I also picked up from this session is for the audience that when you are posting something online, be sure that it is fact, because people can act on it, which means literally information that is being shared from sources can even alter people's behavior, which can also lead to a dire consequence if later we find out it's not even the truth.
Yeah.
You understand? Some people can easily act on what they see online without even verifying. Okay, so this will even lead me to my first question that I would like to ask. You've given us how to verify. Do you understand? How to verify whether information is a fact, is true or false. Right now, if we figure out that some information is not right, like it's fake, what are the right channels as our rules as netizens? What are the right channels we should go through to reach out to you that this information that is being spread, you figured out that it was fake news? And then is there something like a structure that provides that?
Yeah, I would have waited Senior Isaac also said, but what actually means that because some of these people are targeting individuals. So let's say we are talking at the user level when you have come across a particular kind of misinformation. Yes, I know the Cybersecurity Authority has a set that try to help people get the way of reporting to them. But what we are also saying is that sometimes we have to match them boot for boot as we are enlightened. At the comment section, if you have verified and it is really false, we have to push the right information to them. If you are in a particular organization that has policies around how to report those information, and mind you, this is not only on the social media and other platforms, but even in our corporate sessions, people tend to spread misinformation. In that sense, you have to go through the procedure for reporting and other things to them. The difficult part is that sometimes you don't really know who is actually behind, but as I've indicated, these platforms like the social media platform have way that you can report fake news, or whether it's a scam or whether it's a spam to you, or you are not happy with that particular information. You can just indicate your sentiment and they can take some other remedies, either blocking or bringing that particular post down. So that will be from my side. I know that some Isaac, my senior man, if you can also add some what the authority also does around that side.
Yeah, exactly. I think so we have what we call the incident reporting points of contact that we have made available to the public in terms of reporting general incidents, but we've also availed it for fact-checking and also reporting disinformation or misinformation that is ongoing within the space. So just by dialing 292, for instance, or reaching us through our WhatsApp line 050-160-3111, you'll be able to reach out or reach the authority. If you require some form of verification, maybe you are not finding it on the various mediums that have been presented, you can share them with us, and then we can do the necessary checks and get back to you if it's actually mis or disinformation and give you the necessary guidance. And once you observe or see persons actually circulating, especially disinformation that could have implications, especially also on national security, it will be good to also, as a citizen, draw our attention to it for us to take the necessary actions on it. Like you rightly said as well, we are also actively engaging the various social media platforms that are active in this country to ensure or to put in place the necessary measures from their side so that we can respond effectively to some of these things in terms of the necessary takedowns, or even if we have to even block some of these users. So we're actively engaging them to see best ways to react to some of these things as fast as possible. And also, I mean, utilize the various points of contact for reaching out to the authority. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Isaac, for the addition. I want to also know if there are any consequences for people who share fake news online.
If I may take that, yes, there are actual consequences, and we have provisions that actually within our Ghana laws that actually infringe on certain actions like that. So, if, for instance, you take the Electronic Communications Act, for instance, section, I think I would have to refer to the section, but there's a section within our Electronic Communications Act that infringes on sharing such kind of information, especially if it has to do or has impact on national security. Again, the criminal code, which is the our criminal code also has sections on it. So specifically, the Electronic Communications Act, Section 76, actually criminalizes the intentional transmission of false communication, okay, that could lead to harm. So false communication intentionally. So in this case, you're referring to disinformation in this case. And the Criminal Offences Act, Section 208, actually also has provisions where individuals can be fined or imprisoned for publishing fake news that could lead to public unrest. So these are our strong legal positions when it comes to the spread of mis or disinformation in Ghana's acts.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the answer. Thank you so much. And I think this question is for you. Somebody asked that who is an independent assessor?
Assessor, yeah.
Okay, so independent assessors have actually been, as part of the launch of the industry forum, I think I would even want to defer this to Mumo so that he would be not from the authority's perspective, but from a player's perspective, give this. But independent assessors have actually been selected and have been sworn into office. What they are going to do is they are going to help the authority in actually implementing its regulatory mandate. So these are persons who have been selected from the private sector that is going to engage or help the CSA, for instance, especially in our licensing and accreditation regime that we are rolling out. These persons are going to be involved in assessing some of the applications that come and also check if these persons actually meet the requirements and should actually be accredited, or institutions or establishments within the space. So these persons are people that are going to help the authority actually to implement its mandate. Like we've always mentioned, it's a collaborative approach, and it is very, very key that we bring in the private sector in rolling out our various initiatives or implementing our regulatory mandate. I don't know if my senior MOM also has something to add with regards to that.
You have said it. You have said it all, Isaac. It is just the doctor said it. Dr. Abed, the Director General, is just to assist the CSA in carrying out the legitimate mandate of assessing, like you rightly spell out. So it's assistant on the industry professional to come in handy when the CSA needs them for this purpose. So that is the much I can say for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Please, if you have any other question, kindly drop it. If we don't have any questions, we would like to move on to the next speaker. But I'm waiting. Do we have any questions?
Mine is just a contribution,
Okay.
on the practical view. You see, I went on LinkedIn, was it yesterday or before yesterday? And I stumbled on a post that a aggrieved person, an aggrieved person was trying to air his grievance to the public, considering one of the telco, and his concern with that, I keep on receiving unsolicited text, and how come these people, get my numbers, and they are using it to communicate all manners of things to me. I think because I have this telco number, I think they should be responsible. Maybe they are selling my data and all those stuff. So, this is based on emotion, somebody just expressing his grief. And I don't know why that happened, but somebody picked that information probably and dropped it on the platform. Of course, the information wasn't quite verified and wasn't quite true, because he has leveled an allegation on one of the telco, and which to me, or to quite a few, wasn't quite very much correct. Even the telco come in the comment section to say, oh no, this is not us. These are how things work here and there and here. So, but probably that sharing has already happened. And of course, a lot of people are quite emotional about this fact. It has been trending for some period now. Why should my number be used in communicating unsolicited message, about a campaign or whatsoever that is not allowed? So such thing can actually be a negative impact on that particular organization, because that name was mentioned. But if you kind of dig deep, probably that organization is not in any way doing that sort of thing. Probably it's anchored on other third parties that are having access to this information. So this is what misinformation can actually cause, because that wasn't verified. But emotion was attached to it, and you could see so many people responding, and most of them has gone into some maybe WhatsApp this thing. So I think if we must have to share, then I don't know, because we are supposed to be called a digital gatekeeper, questioning and verifying, and responsibly sharing information. But I want to kind of turn this into a little question. If I have to share information that is damaging, of course it's true, maybe they are fact checking and everything, should I go ahead and share this information, knowing fully well that probably my colleague, my family, my close relative are going to kind of suffer to some extent? should I still go ahead and share? The fact check said is correct, everything. So I'm looking at the responsible sharing. Is it something that we need to consider, or we should actually minimize sharing of information? I started with a practical view and ended with a question.
Yes, that's a very interesting aspect. Yeah, so what I think is that, as you are saying, I use the word we should be cautious. And for misinformation, most of us may sometimes fall victim, but to it, we should be reasonable in sharing, in the sense that, for example, when it's about, let's say, a danger in a particular area, as you are saying, and it will affect your family, yes, reasonably, anybody who cares for the family or the society in that particular area would want to share. I think the more dangerous part is that the one who starts sharing or designs some of this information, or the architects of this information, and starts sharing, they are the target in your scenario very well, that we should be, as much as possible, not try to be sharing those things. But as and when you also come to know that what you have shared is wrong, I hope it is responsible. Sometimes we have to take them down by ourselves, delete it, or also find a way of reaching the people who have shared already to them that, oh, sorry, I got this wrong, and this is the right perspective of whatever I've shared. And I think it can make a lot of sense when we are able to do that. I hope it helps a bit. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Are you on? I also see one question. What measures are in place to protect public institutions and prevent disinformation campaigns from undermining their credibility? Yeah, so I think for public agencies, I think my senior Isaac is here. But what I think is that now public agencies should also be forthright in coming out so strongly with their positions on matters when they start coming up. What I have also seen reasonably in our context is that sometimes some of these agencies would wait for the information to be so much discussed before we see their final opposition, or like their official opposition. Sometimes when even they have taken steps to do something, it is better they are proactive to tell us this is the direction we are going. We are working on some of these things, and they should be active on these social medias also to let us know the right side, like the right sense of appreciating what they intend to do. But if they become passive and always firefighting, that is where their credibility will be swaying into the mud. But I think that what I think should be done is that they should also now take misinformation, disinformation as very serious, and also update the public, or let us know what is happening in their area of operation before people even come out to say what they are saying. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Okay.
You can come in.
Okay, yeah, I think I was just saying that I totally agree with you on the point that you made. We've actually been actively engaging some of these very critical institutions, letting them know how important it is for them to also have, I mean, social media presence in this day and age, because it has become the very tool that is being used in the dissemination of some of these contents. And I mean, it would also be good to firefight it on that same platform. So I think some of these institutions actually are gradually doing well. If you look at the responsiveness of the Ghana police, even EC, if you look at their responsiveness with regards to putting out the actual facts of certain issues that fly in the space, I think we are gradually doing well, and the direction has been set for other institutions actually to carry on with some of these. So it's a gradual process, but I believe that we will get there. Looking at the trend of how these days institutions are actually coming out to debunk some of this information.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac. Thank you so much. Mr. David, you want to speak?
Yes, I have a question, just a follow-up question. can we have a situation where the organization that's supposed to provide the facts also come up with an information that is not completely accurate, thereby even confusing the public the more? How do we deal with such situations? If there is a fact and then you have the information out there and the authority that's supposed to provide the validation of the information comes up with an information that is not really accurate, how do we then fact check and then know that, okay, this information on the ground is actually correct, or there's some kind of managing of the information and not putting out the real fact out there? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Senior, go. I'll come later.
No, you go first. You go first.
Okay, so David, it's an interesting one. It's like who watches the Watchman and who. It's like, but I know that there will be some distinctions too from the scenario you have just shared. For example, if somebody says that the Tesano Road has a lot of potholes and takes a picture and brings it out, then the, let's say, roads ministry is coming to say there's no potholes there. Some of these things can be verifiable. We can see if there are potholes, we will find them. I think it's so much blurred when it talks about maybe policy direction or some implementation of some sort of things that brings its own problem out. So who is actually telling the truth? Per the structure, we will be gearing towards more of the authority or the agency. But I think, in my candid opinion, when you are going below the facts, it will be known. That's why we all have to educate ourselves and also probe. And I think there's also some interesting laws like the information, right to information bill and other things that some individual citizens can also probe further to ask for better particulars when we think that some of these authorities are, I don't want to use the word misleading, because they are supposed to be entities of trust, so that we don't create any confusion. But I think that there are other mechanisms that, if really they are below the fact, it can be proven and they will be obvious. That would be from me. David, I hope it helps you a bit.
Yeah, it helps a bit. Just that
Yeah.
I think the authorities must also improve on the accuracy of the information they put out there to build public confidence.
Trust, trust, so that we know that when it's coming from them, it is something that is supposed to be trusted. I agree with you on that. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our time is fast spent. We would like to move on to the next speaker, please. If you have any question, please reach out to them privately. We are taking Mr. Richard Kafui. Mr. Richard Kafui, can come ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you all for this insightful webinar. Thanks to Sheriff and MM for putting this together once again. We as IIPGH, this is what we do. My name is Kafui Amanfu. I work with the Institute. I'm the Director of Operations. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Executive Director, David Go. At IIPGH, capacity building is one of our strengths, and we have been doing this since the inception of the organization. Cybersecurity is something that we've been keen on. We've been contributing to the cybersecurity capacity building and public awareness engagements with the Cybersecurity Authority for some time now. We have been actively involved, and I must say that we were also much involved in the putting up of the document for the Cybersecurity Act. We made valuable inputs during that time, and since then, our collaborations with the authority has been a beautiful marriage till now. Every quarter, we've been organizing cybersecurity workshops or webinars that leads into, or that feeds into the annual celebration in October. So if this is your first time joining our webinar sessions on cybersecurity, just keep tuned with IIPGH, register with the Institute so you can be abreast with all other programs we do. We are engaged in public awareness programs as well. Aside just this webinar, we do a lot of things in terms of sensitization and awareness campaigns. We publish in the newspapers almost every time. So for this month of October, if you have been reading the Business and Financial Times almost always, or Modern Ghana website, you would realize that we've been publishing only cybersecurity articles for the month of October. This we've been doing since 2017 till now. We do other training and capacity building programs for all ages. We believe in early start, so we start from the basics and we take them through coding programs. And then the adults also learn things like data science, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies. Like I said, we are best in workshops and seminars, so that's our hallmark. We have other annual events like the Tech Job Fair and the Entrepreneurs Forum, Tech Entrepreneurs Forum. So just stay tuned. We might come up with the next event pretty soon. We do a lot of radio and media engagements. We have our members who go online, who go on radio to speak about technology issues. They demystify and break down technology jargons and all that in the basic terms for people to understand. So one of our recent engagements, we are on the Gig Squad with the Joy FM that holds every Tuesday, I think, yes, every Tuesday. So if you're not aware, please try and catch us. We used to be on other radio stations as well, but just stay tuned and I'm sure you'd get a glimpse of what we do later on. So we are a professional body. We have membership of about 2,000 plus. So if you'd want to be with us, I would encourage you to register and join the association because we have valuable things that we do here in terms of education and capacity building. Today, I'll just have to chip this in. Our time is fast spent. That we launched our very first coding club today in Ablekuma South in a school called Big Base Basic School. This coding club is supposed to be the first of many to come. And this coding club is supposed to be with partners. So I believe we will be adding on a lot of partners and so we can improve on the digital skill set of the young ones. Apentin rightly mentioned that we do a lot of digital skills programs and yes, this is something that everybody must be interested in to help the public to be secured in terms of the digital front. Yes, when we're talking about cybersecurity, you need to be digital abreast with time. You need to be known in the trends coming up. So yes, the coding club is something that we are trying to use to empower young ones to get to that stage of where they would also have a safe life on the internet front. So yes, if you want to join the Institute, I'll just drop the website for registration and then you can take it up from there. Our website is just a very easy one, iipgh.org. You can just visit the website right now and register with us. And then I believe you would get to know more about us. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Over to you, Rachel.
Thank you so much for the brief discussion you just had. Okay, so we thank you all for joining today's meeting. Our topic, like you know, we are fighting against misinformation and disinformation. And then we also have our roles to play as individuals, as netizens, as people who use the internet often. So let's make sure to take the points. Let's be the doer of what we've just learned. We just don't hear it and then it's at the back of our mind or something. It's just there. Let's practice what we've just learned. And let's take it, let's also educate our friends, our siblings, our roommates, your wives, your husbands. Please educate them about the precautions they should take before they share certain information online. I would like to bring the meeting, the webinar, to an end. Thank you all. We appreciate you for joining today's meeting. We'll see you next time. Kindly stay in touch with IIPGH platform, their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram, and LinkedIn, www.iipgh.org. Do not forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much.